Alex Jones is defending Elon Musk here. Apparently, there's like a Guardian article about him where they put a little kind of, it looks like a Hitler mustache on him. Just give this a listen.
Elon's pro-Israel, not anti-Israel. He's pro-Jew, not anti-Jew. That's known.
I'll talk about that in a minute. That does not mean he's not a Nazi.
And they have no evidence here. They just say Jews are scared. But look at the picture there. You've got the written lies. You've got the loaded question about people are scared.
Wait, what question? There's no question here. I'm not seeing a question. Am I blind?
And then there is a person waving a AFD sign. And all they had to do was pause the video when it went over his nose to give him a Hitler mustache. So,
all right. Now, I personally think that that's kind of a low blow. I don't ever do that. I don't ever clickbait that way on my channel or whatever. The thing is, the way that like TVs and recordings capture frames makes it nearly impossible to get a screenshot that doesn't look absolutely ridiculous. Let me just pull up a video of my own. Okay, wow. I don't like this image of myself because it's before I grew facial hair or anything. Well, let me see if I can jump forward. This is going to bother me, but here you go. Literally anywhere I stop, anywhere, I look ridiculous because of the way that frames are captured. Wow, I look so young there. It looks so completely different now. Anyway. The way frames are captured, it creates a buffer frame in between the two frames that it's displaying. And every time you move to a new frame, it's capturing like a new jump in between the two frames. It's hard to find a spot that doesn't look ridiculous. And for that reason, a lot of YouTubers find like top tier, absolutely ridiculous scenes to show like in thumbnails and stuff. I don't do that. I specifically look for places that are not ridiculous looking. But either way, this AFD appearance that he did there, that Elon Musk did, the AFD party is the new Nazi party. The fact that he appeared here is a clear indication that he holds the beliefs of the Nazi party. I don't know how to make this any clearer. Elon Musk is a Nazi. That's just what it is. It's illegal to be a Nazi in Germany, to hold Nazi or to espouse Nazi beliefs. But Elon goes as close up to the line as he possibly can. In fact, the rest of the AFD goes as close as they can to the line, and some of them even cross it and are under investigation as a result today. So I'm not giving there's no quarter for these types of nutcases. I am not lending any grace or credibility to these people. Is it weird to anybody else that Alex Jones defends literal Nazis all the time?
So instead of even attacking him and saying he's Heiling Hitler, now they just put a mustache on him and don't comment on it, knowing that most people are so unconscious still, even though they might be partially awake to being lied to, they don't realize how much they're being lied to. And that's subliminal messaging. So
I don't know if I don't know. I mean, they're just waving flags. I suppose it could be. I suppose that could be intentional. Either way, he's a Nazi, so I don't know what to tell you. If you don't want a Hitler stash put on you, don't espouse Nazi beliefs.
The globalist corporate media runs subliminal message campaign to associate Elon Musk with Hitler.
Oh my God, dude. This subliminal message campaign thing, this drives me nuts. Subliminal messaging it doesn't work that way. The thing that Alex Jones is thinking of is probably NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And neuro-linguistic programming doesn't really work. And it's amoral. It's just like people use it for like really bad things sometimes to like manipulate people into stuff. Anyway, it really doesn't work to any degree. It's like, for example, you ever heard the term negging, where you're like being negative towards somebody, trying to make them feel bad about themselves so that they'll sleep with you? That's an example of neuro-linguistic programming. You're just being a complete scumbag to take advantage of people. That's it. It doesn't really work as effectively in this form, in like video form. Implications certainly work for the purpose of like dog whistles and things. But, putting this little stash over top of Elon, it doesn't work that way. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. Okay, let's continue. Oh, I'm sorry. And one more thing I forgot to mention about Elon Musk being like pro-Jewish and pro-Israeli. A Zionist is somebody that supports Israel controlling the Middle East. And that's pretty much been the definition for like ever, right? In the 30s, Zionists, Jewish Zionists, made a deal with Hitler to force the Jews out of Europe and into Palestine. They worked with Hitler. And you know why they got along so well, the Zionists and the Nazis? Because they're the exact same ideology directed at different people groups. Nazis believe Aryans are the ideal specimen of a man. They're supermen. They're strong. They're smart. They're powerful. They're the best in the world. They deserve everything. Jewish Zionists in that region that made the deal with Hitler, they believe that about Jewish people. It's an ultra-nationalist, extremist belief system. And ultra-nationalist belief systems get along pretty well, often. So being pro-Israel does not mean you're not a Nazi. In fact, being ultra-nationalist, you very well may be a Nazi and a Zionist. There are a lot of Christian Zionists because they believe that Jesus needs to appear there in Israel when he comes back. Israel must belong to the Jews before Jesus can return. Anyway, this is not a cover. It's not a protection. It's not the win that Alex Jones thinks it is.
Run subliminal message campaign to associate Elon Musk with Hitler.
The government fears Alex Jones, who has the largest audience in the...
The government fears Alex Jones. All right, let's jump forward. Here we go.
AFD speech.
Again, AFD, new Nazi party.
Fears for security of Jews worldwide in wake of Elon Musk AFD speech. Now, look at this article. What do you see there in the photo they've got?
Yep, okay, we get it. They put a little Hitler mustache over him or whatever. Made it look like he had a Hitler mustache.
Well, it's...
Again, like he's implying it's neurolinguistic programming. That's just not how it works. It's just not.
Elon, Saturday on a Jumbotron speaking to AFD, which is the preeminent, growing, winning, just Trumpist party, not even as conservative as Trump.
They're the Nazi party. It's the new Nazi party. I can't believe that he's like even defending this. It's just disgusting. He had this whole debate with Nick Fuentes over whether Hitler was a good guy. And like, what a debate to have, right? But okay, he was surprisingly anti-Hitler. Why is he going down this road now? I don't understand.
They're more Ron Paulish, really. I've looked at their policies and listened to their leaders. They've been around.
They're Nazis.
For decades. So, Elon's pro-Israel, not anti-Israel. He's pro-Jew, not anti-Jew. That's
irrelevant.
Known. And they have no evidence here. They just say Jews are scared. But look at the picture there. You've got the written lies. You've got the loaded question.
What loaded question are we talking about? There is no loaded question here.
People are scared. And then there is a person waving a AFD sign. And all they had to do was pause the video when it went over his nose to give him a Hitler mustache.
Now, I think that I can't tell if this is news or commentary part of the website. I probably wouldn't have done that personally. I agree that that's, a little bit underhanded. But again, neurolinguistic programming does not exist. Alex Jones is convinced it does. At least it's not as effective as he thinks.
Now, they don't say, oh, look, he looks like Hitler here. They don't say, oh, his gesture. Oh, I just did it too. From his heart to everybody, it's Hitler. And they have all the Democrats, everybody else doing that human gesture. Hulk Hogan doing it. It's not Heiling Hitler. So instead of even attacking him and saying he's Heiling Hitler, now they just put a mustache on him and don't comment on it, knowing that most people are so unconscious still, even though they might be partially awake to being lied to, they don't realize how much they're being lied to. And that's subliminal messaging.
Yeah, like Joe Rogan has mentioned this. I think he's a complete sack of shit, but this is a good object lesson in how the press works. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. Every time CNN talked about him for years, they had a picture of him in the thumbnail at a fight where he was sticking his hand up pointing at something. They always used that image of him, and it gave people a very specific perception of what type of person he was. The media does that. It's a sign of the media looking for clickbait, doing everything they can to get like a clickbaity title, clickbaity story or article or whatever. That's not good. I don't believe that should happen. But, you know, if you want unclickbaity stories or news outlets or whatever, go with AP News. Go with Reuters. They're fantastic. I never get clickbaity stuff like that.
It's right at the consciousness level. So let's pull up the actual article, not just overhead shot and not just the image. There it is. Now imagine somebody goes to that and first thing your subconscious thinks is that's Hitler.
There is a ton of evidence of him being a Nazi. His personally espoused beliefs. He's said it. He's said things on the twit that clearly indicate that he is a Nazi. I mean, I've already gone through how he's a Nazi. I don't need to go through it again on other videos, but he's a Nazi. It could not possibly be clearer. This is not unfairly misrepresenting him.
Germans, stop living in a guilt complex. It's how the left controls you. You didn't support Hitler. You're not Hitler. You deserve to have your voting rights and your speech rights and your energy rights and not have Islamicists and others murdering and killing you. 80% of the violent crime plus being, 5, 6, 7, 8 giant stabbings of babies and baby strollers. I mean, that's what
Yeah, I don't think any of this is true that he's laying down for us here, but okay, whatever.
Crazies to the target. I mean, you see it all the time, every day. And so here they are with their image. It's a real image. They can say, well, technically it's a photo we took with an establishment photographer there, and then they went and paused it with someone waving their arm with a sign to make him Hitler. So it's not just the Guardian. They're all doing it. So globalist corp.
They're not all doing it. No, that's not true. Reuters doesn't do that shit. AP News doesn't do that shit. There are a ton of news organizations that don't do that. This is the exception to the rule, not the rule.
Corporate media runs subliminal message campaign to associate Elon Musk with Hitler.
And the lesson that all of Alex Jones's listeners are going to derive from this is that all mainstream media is trying to control your mind. They're brainwashing you. This is brainwashing. That's delusion.
And they ran the image all over the place. And I looked, when I saw this morning, I went and looked. I didn't see anybody, maybe they are now, pointing out how ridiculous this is. Now, let me give you another example. So see, that's what I do. And I've been doing this for 40 years, but really I've been dialed up for 31 in April on air. That'll be the anniversary.
By the way, don't let him pretend that he doesn't do this exact thing right here. He does this exact thing. He has done this exact thing before. I believe he's even been sued for it.
That when I look at things, I'm looking for what they're hiding, and I see it. And it's not like I'm a schizo, that sees the Virgin Mary in a piece of burnt toast, or I see giraffes in clouds. No, I mean, I see what they're pushing, what the image is, and you catch it instantly. And I saw this an hour before the show, and I thought, certainly someone's picked up on this. And no one was pointing out, look at this photo. Look what they're doing. Look at the headline. Look, it all is one message. He's Hitler. Just like last week when, this dark money group's attacking RFK Jr. with fake doctor signatures and a petition.
Okay, I don't know that story, but you think that RFK Jr. is qualified to be in this field? Do you really believe that? Do you think that there aren't a billion doctors out there ready to contest RFK Jr.'s claims?
Said, surely people know that's Bill Gates' group. No one knew it. So see, it's not that I'm that smart. It's that this is what I do. And that's why this broadcast is valuable and why you're valuable to boost it and get it out to people. Now, there's a famous meme that's on screen that shows how by manipulating an image, by either cropping it or only showing part of it, you can deceive people. And Elon posted on X today about the next article I'm going to show you that, wow, they actually made the meme reality. I'm going to pull up the HD of this, but here is Mark Andreessen pointing it out. New York Magazine accusing others of cruelty is like Stalin accusing others of running poorly maintained jails.
Wait, one more time?
Andreessen pointing it out. New York Magazine accusing others of cruelty.
New York Magazine? I have no idea who that is or why you'd be talking about him or whatever.
is like Stalin accusing others of running poorly maintained jails. And it's an image of.
Well, I just want to point out that it doesn't matter what New York Magazine is doing or whatever. It doesn't matter who has bad jails. You can still criticize the people who are contributing to the problem. Yeah, the U.S. would be hypocritical if they said China had bad jails. But does China have bad jails? We should certainly think about that, right?
Of a Republican Trump party cropping a group of white men and women, young people, and then they don't show you that there are black people right out of the shot.
I have no idea if this is real, but Alex Jones should be able to acknowledge that the top 1% is almost, let me rephrase, the top 1% has almost no black people in it. He can acknowledge that, right? So I don't care if the image is accurate. The idea behind it is accurate. I don't even know what this image is of. Nobody knows what this is an image of. It's irrelevant what the image is of. It's the concept behind it they're trying to communicate. It's a totally fair image, if it's even real.
Now, again, that is the most classic form of deception you can engage in. And that's what they do. And there's many other forms.
They, whoever they is.
The internet did not believe Sandy Hook happened because of a lot of weirdness.
Here we go.
The internet didn't believe it day one. Months into it, I looked at it a few times, did a few segments on it, said, yeah, this looks weird. Then years and years and years later, I get kicked off the internet. Never mentioned that it had to do with Sandy Hook because it didn't.
Wow. Dude is readdressing Sandy Hook. Oh my God, I got to write this down. It wasn't just him saying, I don't know, this looks a little bit weird, like everybody else on the internet at the time. First of all, almost nobody was saying that on the internet. It was this weird little pocket of nutcases who were like a dog with a bone. They couldn't let it go. And Alex Jones was leading that charge and is directly responsible for some of the parents checking out, for having to move multiple times. He didn't just get punitive damages, like punishment for what he did. He had to pay them compensatory damages for all the money they spent moving and stuff to hide from his little nutcases. So I don't want to hear it. Again, Alex Jones wouldn't let this go, and he talked about it for years. Yeah, the cases took forever to go through the court system. That's the nature of legal cases. That doesn't mean that it's like fake or something.
Elon Musk pointed that out when they told him, hey, Tucker Carlson told me, he didn't get kicked off the internet for Sandy Hook, like they say. It was other stuff. He went and looked at the logs of all my posts ever and said Sandy Hook wasn't even there. But they said I made my living off of it. I was the Sandy Hook man. I killed the kids.
Nobody said you killed the kids, but you absolutely got famous, or got more famous, for talking about it, and talked about it all the time. And your entire network talked about it. You even got a dude on that like doxed the families.
Nobody knows Adam Lanza's name. And then they raised money with Bloomberg's gun control group for years, saying he's attacking families, attacking kids, they're attacking their houses, they're peeing on their graves. None of that ever happened. I didn't even send anybody, but they couldn't even find anybody that did any of that.
I have no idea what he's talking about now, but his whole claim was that this was a staged event to try to convince people to get rid of, or to do gun control, to get rid of guns. Next step was Obama going door to door, taking people's guns. That was his claim. And did that happen? No. He just hurt a bunch of innocent people who'd suffered terribly.
On the stand, my lawyer's like, anybody ever pee on the grave? No, I just heard about it. Who told you? I don't know. Okay, well, who came to your house? I don't know. I just heard about it. Well, who told you? I don't know.
That's not how lawyers work. They come in with evidence if they state things in court like that. They have to have evidence for that. So, just bullshit.
Alex Jones ever say your name? No. 130 million. Already found guilty by the judge. Jury told this man's guilty. Decide how much money he's got. They get up. He's worth hundreds of millions he got from them. The jury's like, you son of a bitch.
He got a fair trial. That's just what it is. It was a trial that spanned years. There were people on that jury. His lawyer had the option of cutting anybody from the jury that he didn't want on there. It's called voir dire. Could cut him for any reason or no reason at all. They looked at him funny. They cut him. That's how it works. And now you're complaining about the jury. Give me a break. This is your fault. Dude still can't take responsibility all these years later.
So that's how this works, people. And then they stalk me. They raise money off me for years. And I'm like, hey, I think it happened. Leave me alone. Before they were raising money off me or attacking me, I'd already said, no, I think it happened.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant if you, quote unquote, think it happened. Your audience doesn't because you told them it didn't. And now these little nutcases are following them around.
But that's how this works. And AP can't even get it right. It's 1.3 plus billion because the court cut 150 million out or whatever.
This is what Alex Jones does right here. What he's doing, he had multiple court cases that he lost. One was a default judgment because he didn't show up. That was the $1.3 billion one. This $473 million one, I think this was either from a different, this is from a different judgment for sure. But it was either from compensatory or punitive damages. I don't remember. This is just like, this was the judgment, and things are added on top of it after the fact. This isn't them being incorrect. This is correctly reported. He just wants to destroy the credibility of AP News, which is one of the most credible outlets out there.
How this works, and AP can't even get it right. It's 1.3 plus billion because the court cut 150 million out or whatever. It doesn't matter. I've never had $10 million in the bank.
Yeah, nobody ever has $10 million in the bank. Look at how like deceptive this weasel is, really. Nobody has $10 million in the bank. You know why? The value of money changes every single day. It shifts. Inflation goes up. Deflation happens from time to time. You can't rely on the value of money to stay the same. So rich people put their money into assets that raise in value over time, along with like the value of money, like property or stocks or whatever. If it's sitting in a bank, it's burning a hole in your pocket. It's doing nothing. You should be doing something with it. Money generates money. And if it's just sitting in a bank, it's generating nothing. So the point is, Alex Jones is being deceptive here. And it's like, it's low. He can't just like come out and tell us the honest facts of the situation.
So it's why I laughed when they had the verdict in Connecticut at 1.5 billion, and then they said, Your Honor, that's not enough. We want 2.76 trillion. If you're a new listener and think I'm joking, just type in Alex Jones it's 2.75. Yeah, there's Bloomberg and all of them. So they didn't suggest, they asked for it. The Bloomberg headline gets it right.
What is the News Times? I've never heard of the News Times before. He broke a state law barring the sale of products using false statements. Jones filed a request with the court on Friday for a new trial, arguing that Judge Barbara Bellis's pretrial rulings resulted in an unfair trial, substantial miscarriage of justice. It seems to me that they're just trying to make sure that he pays for the rest of his life, like everything that he has. I don't think, like, they know that he doesn't have 2.75 trillion. Like, there are no trillionaires in the world.
So that's the GDP, by the way, of India. So this is just Wizard of Oz when we're not scared of him. He just turns up the sound, I am the great and powerful Oz. And people just hear. Remember, thousands of articles a week, hundreds of TV programs. Alex Jones hurts kids. Alex Jones attacking kids. I have people all the time in the street go, you son of a bitch, you killed those kids. And I would just say,
okay, nobody thinks that you killed those kids. Literally not one human being on planet Earth, okay?
To him, I go, I killed him, really? Yeah, I'll beat your ass. You're like, you're mentally ill. Sandy Hook family seek $2.75 trillion from Alex Jones.
Like, how long ago was this anyway? This is October 2022. I'm only seeing one report from The Independent. I didn't even see that from the Bloomberg report. Oh, I see. They reached that number by multiplying the state's laws up to 5,000 per violation fine by the 550 million social media exposures. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I mean, I think they were just trying to make sure that, like, he paid for the rest of his life.
So that's just a more advanced form of this, where they just ran article after article after article after article after article after article. And almost every guest we were going to have on during those years before they even sued me would say, I'll come on your show, including Ron Paul, but don't bring up Sandy Hook. And I'd go, I didn't talk about it for 3 years before they sued me. In evidence, they only introduced 22 minutes of me talking about it ever.
Of him talking about it ever. Maybe. I don't even believe that's true, but he wasn't the only one talking about it on his network. Owen Schroyer also talked about it on his network a lot. Bunch of other people talked about it on his network. He was famous for it. He was leading the charge on it. And he's probably spent more time talking about it now than, well, maybe not 20 minutes. He spent like at least 5 minutes on this subject so far. So I don't know what he's going on about. He thinks he's only spoken about it for 20 minutes. Where'd you get that number?
Come on, you're talking about it. I see it.
He's literally talking about it now.
They attached themselves to me and to Trump when Trump won 8 years ago.
Dude, how did we end up here from Elon Musk is not really a Nazi or whatever? Did he just does he leverage every subject into an opportunity to talk about how victimized he is or something? Like, what's going on?
They raised money off me for years. Then they had me found guilty by judges in show trials.
They were not show trials. They were trials from a jury of your peers that you got to cut if you wanted.
And they think you're stupid. I know you're not stupid, but cropping a photo, it'd be okay of a Trump event just so happen to have a bunch of white people at it. It's okay for, a black church to be a bunch of black people, right? But no, it's a bunch of black people all around them, and they crop the photo.
Yeah, again, I don't know what this event is, but you have to acknowledge that statistically, it is almost all white people around Trump or at the top, right?
To deceive everybody.
I don't think that's a deception. I don't even know if this is real. I don't know why I'm even playing into it.
And they don't like the fact that Elon is exposing it and said they literally did this meme. And then he posts under it the story so you can see the deception for yourself. And that's what they don't like, because none of it makes sense when you actually know what they're doing and you know they're the liars. Like here, oh, look, he's Hitler. And then the whole corporate media doesn't point out the dirty trick they just did there because they're all in on it. The good news.
The corporate media is all in on it, using this as an opportunity to point the finger at literally everybody. Nobody is trustworthy except for Alex Jones. Really?
Is almost no one buys any of their crap anymore.
Anyway, tell me what you think about this in the comments. This dude is a shameless liar. Like, every word out of his mouth is a misrepresentation to some degree. He lies for a living, literally lies for a living. It's just sad.